There you are. Good morning. It doesn't look like the morning. You might think you're watching me in the evening. It's very, very dark outside. It's pretty grim this morning. No surprise there. And I've not put the overhead light on because the glare, the glare on this caused car crashes yesterday on the M6. Such was the glare. So I've not put the overhead light on. I think it sets a nice moody atmosphere, doesn't it? It's the 26th of November, so it is, and it's a Tuesday morning. Good morning to you. It's just after 9:30, 9:31 it is, and my name is Richie Allen. And this nonsensical YouTube live stream, which has gathered a bit of pace now, I think, is just a silly little bit of fun. We'll have a look at the front pages of the UK's newspapers, and we will look at one or two stories inside. There you are. But the news is dominated, or the morning programmes are dominated by one big story today, hence that meme there of Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn and what appears to be a rabbi. Yes, that's the big story this morning anyway. So we'll talk about that in a second. I won't dwell on it so much. And when I get a chance, we'll have a look through some of the comments on the live chat as well. Do feel free to chat amongst yourselves. No harm in that. Yeah. So I'm in good form. Good form this morning. Little bit tired. I kind of spend my life being tired, but I generally manage it just a little bit. Fatigued. But I'll write to myself after this, and I'll get out in the dank and the damp and the dank, and I'll run myself into awakeness, into wokefulness. Yes, let's just have a look at the papers then. We're going to get straight into this Rabbi Jeremy Corbyn row, because the first paper up today is none other than Rupert Murdoch's Times. Here it is. And the headline is, Corbyn not fit for high office, says Chief Rabbi. Corbyn not fit for high office as Chief Rabbi. I'm sure you've been following this morning if you're in the UK, maybe even if you're outside the UK. And you'll know that this is Ephraim Mervis. Ephraim Mervis. He's the Chief Rabbi. There you are. And he's written in the Times, and he has said that a new poison sanctioned from the very top has taken root in the Labour Party. He has asked people to vote with their conscience. And he also said that when Labour claims that it has investigated all cases of anti-Semitism, this rabbi dude says that is a mendacious fiction. That's what he has said, the Chief Rabbi. And what's interesting about the timing of this is the Labour Party will today launch a race and faith manifesto, which wants to improve protections for all faiths and to tackle prejudice as well. Because we need to protect faiths. From what exactly? What do we need to protect faith from? Faith is this irrational fucking view that there is a benevolent fairy godfather in the sky who created us in his own image. And then, for shits and giggles, he fucked us down to planet Earth, and he said, you go about your business now, but remember to be good. And at the end of times, I'll choose a few thousand of you to join me in paradise. Why do we need to protect that lunacy? And they all believe it, you know. The Christians, the Muslims, the Jews, Abrahamics. We need to protect them, says Corbyn. So I think the timing of this is very interesting. I don't mind if I offend you there. You know, if you listen to the radio show, I don't believe in this notion of a God, the benevolent creator. I've come to see myself more as agnostic these days because I'm more open-minded to some intelligent creation, but not this fairy story about the vengeful God. and all that crap, right? So this guy's article in the Times, just before the Race and Faith manifesto is published or produced by Labour, is very, very interesting indeed. Ephraim Mervis. The Jews, won't somebody please think of the Jews? We're all very worried, says the Rabbi, about the prospect of a Labour government led by Jeremy Corbyn. Of course, he's lying. Nobody speaks for Jewish people. And this is a point well made if you spend any time on Twitter. You'll see lots of different Jewish people and various Jewish groups coming out to defend Corbyn. But you wouldn't know that if you were getting your news from the BBC or Sky this morning. I did a bit of digging around last night. I did a bit of digging around for the crack, because I wanted to find out a bit more about the Rabbi. So I started voyeuristically going back through his tweets, that thing that I have criticised corporations for doing. Don't do that to your prospective employees. But I did it. I went searching for the Rabbi. What did I find? Well, I found that he's a bit of a cock. Here he is tweeting back in July, a picture of himself and Boris Johnson, the chief rabbi. I'm delighted to congratulate Johnson on becoming the next leader of the Conservative Party in our next PM. May he be blessed with the wisdom. Good luck with that. To successfully navigate the political uncertainties we face and bring healing and prosperity to our great country. Ah, Rabbi, you shit, you wretched, rotten little shit. All you are is a miserable propagandist. I've used that term on Twitter about 3 times in the last 24 hours to describe various people. Miserable propagandist. You are a whore for the establishment, Rabbi. That's all you are. You don't give a shit, really, what Jeremy Corbyn says or does. You're a Conservative Party supporter and a friend of people like David Cameron and Boris Johnson. So your intervention at this time is highly dubious. And one, I think, which we must take with a large pinch of salt, Rabbi. You sweaty bastard. And here's, fuckers, huh? Don't they make you sick? I wish I could be as eloquent as my great pal Gerald Celente when I rant about these people. Gerald is unbelievable, isn't he? Must give him a ring. I started thinking, voice must go up several octaves when you're really annoyed. I went looking even further back, and look what this wretched rabbi thought back in 2014 when Israel was carpet bombing women and children in Gaza. He thought Israel had no fucking choice. Well, there's always a choice, When you get up, what'll we do today? I don't know, let's plant a few trees. Let's go and have a picnic. Or let's go and fucking kill 2,000 people in Gaza. I opt for the picnic. The IDF and Benjamin Netanyahu, the most corrupt, bent, evil bastard that ever lived. Such a coward Netanyahu that he wants his fucking wife to take the rap for him so that he avoids going to prison for corruption. That's who the chief rabbi supports. But isn't it shameful that the Ginger Ninja on Sky News and the BBC whore masters and whore mistresses won't mention this guy's affiliations today when they're having a go at Labour Party MPs who come on to defend Corbyn? Disgusting. Isn't it? Eh? Disgusting. Fucking disgusting. I had a few things to say about it on Twitter. I don't ordinarily share my tweets with you. That's a bit fanciful, isn't it? That's a bit arrogant, isn't it? But I'm neither fanciful nor arrogant. My tweets and my opinions are no more important than yours. But the reaction to some of these tweets, very funny. Here's one of my tweets. Chief Rabbi says Corbyn not fit for office. A, yawn. Yes, because it is fucking boring. There is no such thing as anti-Semitism. There isn't. I'm not going to explain that again. I've done it too many times. It is a myth. A myth that goes unchallenged, doesn't it? Jews are nobody's victims. They're not. Victims, Jews. I happen to know some Jewish people, and they agree. They say, we're not anybody's victims, Richie. We don't need to be protected from anything. And no minority identity group has ever had it so good. Now, that is a little bit of a barb, I will admit. It does wind up some Jews. What I'm basically saying there is that the Jews are an identity group. You choose to be Jewish. You're not born Jewish. You make the choice. Well, the choice is made for you when you're born. Like the choice was made for me when I was baptised. I had no fucking say in it until I was sentient enough and intelligent enough when I got older to say, well, I'm not a Christian. It's a load of bollocks. Right? Right. So no minority identity group has ever had it so good. That's true. Jews thrive. And good luck to them. And they don't thrive because they sit around plotting and planning. Jews just do well. And one of the reasons Jews do well, like other minority groups, is because of positive discrimination in the media and other places. And then I went on to say, but Corbyn is the architect of his own downfall. He hasn't the balls to deal with it. Everything I have said in that tweet, I believe to be true. Corbyn hasn't the balls to deal with it, to call it out. And we've had more mealy-mouthed statements from the Labour Party this morning. Labour is against anti-Semitism at every level. Labour is against racism at every level. Labour plans to root out racism at every level. Instead of just fucking saying to these people, stand up to them. Stand up to them and call them out. Call out this chief rabbi dickhead for his affiliation with the Conservative Party, for his writing articles in the Times newspaper at a time when Palestinians were being blown to fucking pieces. Call him out, Jeremy! Call him out! Have some courage, man! But then, of course, the problem Jeremy has is there are filing cabinets of things that Jeremy Corbyn would rather you didn't know about him. And they are safely tucked away in the offices of MI5 and GCHQ. Yes. But anyway, my fairly benign tweet there by my standards, didn't go down too well with one or two Jews. The Jews. I love these people. By these people, I mean all these people, not just Jews. Anybody who plays the game of identity politics and who wants to race to the bottom, you know, to be declared to be the most oppressed. I love them all. They're fucking idiots. God love them. Here's a Jewish woman called whatever. P is her name. Rather fetching little filly. Rather fetching little filly. I don't crack anybody else up. I crack me up. That's all that matters. If I make myself laugh, because me, the all-seeing me, the I, there's only one I in I. There's no team in I. There's no team in I. I'm all that matters. Me. Here she is. This is frightening, she says. This is frightening. Frightening that I said that Jews are nobody's victims. That's frightening to a Jew. You're not a victim, love. You're not a victim. You're nobody's victim. You're a sentient, independent, smart woman who happens to be mildly attractive. Maybe it's because I haven't had a shag for a week. I don't know, I'd shag a mannequin now. I'd shag a mannequin! In fact, I might just fucking do that later on. There's a shop around the corner, a Drapers. They've always got mannequins in the skips out the back. Can you picture that? Can you picture the Richie Allen show being brought low by an expose in the Daily Mail? Racist baldy gammon caught interfering with mannequins at the back of the haberdashers. If a Daily Mail journalist knows the meaning of the word even haberdasher, I'd fucking die of shock. This is unbelievable, isn't it? Huh? Isn't it? This is frightening, she says. No, love, it isn't. It's just an opinion. That's all. Oh, it's frightening if you get what you want. Not just you, but every other minority identity fucking lunatic who wants to, legitimize, legislate that nobody can ever say anything about your fucking religion or your politics in case we offend you. That's terrifying, love. That's really frightening. Anyway, that's the times. I'm going to leave that there now. You thought I'd keep going on and on about it, didn't you? But I'm fed up of it. I hate them all equally. All these identitarians. I hate them all equally. They're all fucking idiots. No matter whether they're Jews or conservative Christians or Christians. I like them if they're Jews and Christians and Muslims and if they go about their business. But when they demand exclusivity and when they demand protection and when they demand that people don't speak about them, fuck off. That's when you get my ire. Right? If you're genuinely being discriminated against, no matter what belief system you subscribe to, I'll be the first fucking person standing up for you. I really will be, if you're genuinely being discriminated against. I'll stand alongside you and say, no, fuck that, it's not right. Anyway. Mannequins. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you're having breakfast and you've just been put off your porridge by the notion of me rogering a mannequin in the back alley of a street just off a rush home, I'm really sorry about that. Here's the mail. Look into my eyes. Look at the sincerity. Here's the mail then. Ho ho ho. Chief Rabbi, the soul of our nation is at stake. The soul of our nation? Fucking Jews. They're taking over now. The Rabbi, our nation. There is no our, you lying bastard. You see, guys like this guy, Rabbi, they're the world's greatest separatists. They use terms like our nation, all in it together. They're lying bastards. Right? Of course he is. Horrible bastard, this Chief Rabbi. Awful. Awful. People being slaughtered in Gaza and this guy was cheerleading it in the pages of the Times, huh? And he says that Jeremy Corbyn is dangerous. Fucking hell. The Daily Telegraph, Labour denies plot to sacrifice Corbyn. Well, there's the story. There's a notion going around that because the other political parties have said clearly that they wouldn't put Jeremy Corbyn into number 10 in a coalition, in the event of a hung parliament, that is, because they think he's anti-Semitic. There's this rumour going around that there are plots being hatched against Jeremy McCorbyn, Jezza, to replace him with another leader who might be more palatable to the likes of, what's-her-face, that Egypt fucking clown, Joe Swinson, and the two arseholes who run the Greens, Bartley and Shan, whatever her name is. Fucking morons, right? So that's the story anyway. It's in the Telegraph. Didn't want to dwell on that. Plots. They quote this guy. This guy's a Labour guy and he's been suggesting it. There's fury and great anger. That's the Telegraph there. Yeah. What about the mirror? It's very dark, isn't it? Isn't it? It's very atmospheric. Lovely. What's in the Mirror? Labour's care revolution for pensioners. So the Mirror, of course, is supporting Labour. Its editorial policy. It has stood by Labour this time around, and it prefers to talk about a new 7-point plan, which the Labour Party says will restore dignity to people who are very worried about care in their old age and worried about having to sell their houses to pay for their care. Labour is saying, well, you won't have to do that if we get in. Okay. The Guardian does cover the Rabbi. Or does it? Does inside the paper. Child poverty will surge to 60-year high under the Tories, is the headline. And is that about the film, is it? Because I'm so blind. And I've had this prescription for longer than I should have. Maybe a couple of months longer than I should have. I'm going to get another eye test and new lenses this week. And in the meantime, I won't be driving. That's the true story. I won't be driving for a few days. Because, yeah. Ah, fuck it. That's Stormzy, is it? Jesus Christ. I'm not down with the kids, you see. I'm not down with the kids. Yes, no mention of the rabbi on the front page of The Guardian, but there is a story inside the paper today about the chief rabbi, the chief arsehole. Here's the eye paper. Corbyn's pension promise I will borrow to pay the waspy women. You know all about that because we've talked about it on the radio show. No need to dwell. No need to dwell. What about the Sun? Swing, then you're winning. It's about key seats in marginal constituencies. It's a story about key seats, okay, and how they can be won and how they can be lost by the various parties. Financial Times goes with Uber, I think, if I remember. Indeed it does. Uber loses London licence again as driver fraud raises safety fears. You can still get an Uber in London because it's on appeal again, but Uber has been caught with its trousers down quite a lot. When the police have randomly stopped Uber drivers, the supposed driver isn't in the car. And sometimes it's a guy who's not got a driving licence. Other times it's a guy who shouldn't even be in the fucking country. And you should know this if you get into an Uber, right? Right? So that you don't end up driving over a fucking cliff. Because the guy only got into a car for the first time that morning. Because his cousin that brought him in from Nigeria gave him the keys. You fucking racist baldy gammon, Richie. Yeah. I say this just to stir the fucking shit. You know that. The Metro, taxi for Uber, same story. What about the Star then? Strictly rumba rompers. Yeah, love the Star. Star doesn't give a shit about what's going on in the world. Doesn't give a shit. Celebrity stories. Rain. That's the one. No insurance. Yeah, imagine. Just rocking up. Right. Thanks for your comments, by the way. I've missed all the ones that came in early on. I'm sorry, so I'm going to read a couple. Jennifer Garcia. Advice in religion from an unbelieving ex-Catholic. That's a hard pass, says Jennifer. I triggered Jennifer, did I? I'm not giving you any advice, Jennifer. I'm not advising people on what to think or what to do. Just giving you my opinion. Hi to Edgar Bocquier, who gets a few giggles out of this live stream. How you doing, Edgar? Hi to Natalie, Stacey, to Martin Ellen. How you doing, Martin? Good stuff. Jennifer says, when opinions and hatred of someone can lead to the harm of many. I don't get that. Are you saying that you really believe that people's opinions lead to the marginalisation of a group of people? No, I don't agree with you. The Jewish people are not in any danger in this country. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to give the last word on this to Norman Finkelstein, who's an old friend of mine and is due on my radio show again real soon. Here's Norman Finkelstein speaking to Renegade on RT. He gives you the lowdown on anti-Semitism in the UK. Pay attention.
Corbyn, he did not present a threat only to Israel and Israel's supporters. He posed a threat to the whole British elite across the board, from The Guardian to the Daily Mail. They all joined in the new anti-Semitism campaign. Now that's unprecedented. The entire British elite, during this whole completely contrived, fabricated, absurd and obscene assault on this alleged Labour anti-Semitism, of which there's exactly zero evidence. Zero. Yeah, there are some fringe members of Labour who are, play into anti-Semitic views.
When people hear that and understand where you're coming from, they'll say, but hang on.
I'm not talking about me.
But you've got a vested interest here because of...
That's totally ridiculous. I read the polls. I read the data. It hovers between 6 and 8% are hardened anti-Semites in British society. It's nothing. Yeah, so there are a few crazies, but there's no institutionalized anti-Semitism in the British Labour Party. There's no threat of anti-Semitism in British society. I've read all the data. I've studied it closely. It just doesn't exist. It's all being designed and manipulated. I don't believe in conspiracy theories, as you know, but this is a conspiracy.
But there are Jewish people, and you have to recognise them in the UK, who are terribly worried about this. Because ultimately, if this anti-Semitism, which is what you're saying is used for political gain, doesn't work, when real anti-Semitism takes hold, then it's going to be back to the boy that cried wolf, and actually there's no protection for
Well, there's a bigger problem than that.
minority.
There's the boy who cried wolf, but I think there's a bigger problem than that. If Corbyn loses, a lot of people in the Labour Party are going to blame it on those Jews who fabricated this whole anti-Semitism witch hunt hysteria. And that will be a problem, but you know what the bigger problem there is? It's true! Jews were the spearhead of this campaign to stop Corbyn. And so there's going to be a lot of anger within the Labour Party. That's not anti-Semitism. That's factually based.
But it wasn't just these Jews that you're talking about.
But they played the most visible role, and they played the most aggressive role. The British elites could not have gotten away with calling Corbyn an anti-Semite unless they had the support, the visible support, of all the leading Jewish organizations. You have to remember that during the summer, all three major British publications, for the first time in British Jewish history, they all took out a common editorial denouncing Corbyn as an anti-Semite and saying that we're now standing on the verge of another Holocaust. They are the enablers of this concerted conspiracy by the whole of British elite society to destroy Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, straightforward enough there. I've known Norman for years and years and years, and I've probably interviewed him about 30 times. And he hasn't got any time for Holocaust deniers or people who blame Jewish people as a group for the problems of the world. And quite rightly, he has no time for those people. But he also has no time for spurious and erroneous and libelous claims made by groups of Zionists, Zionist Jews that is, in this country and in the United States. So that's the last word on that one. Where were we then? Because we're coming up for 10 o'clock. Hi to Graham Booze, by the way. You doing, Graham? Triggerwarning.tv, trigger warning on YouTube, top man. Hope you're in good form this morning, my friend. The boy Hewitt had an operation on his wrist yesterday. Kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies, that, doesn't it? But he'll be back masturbating by Thursday, apparently. And that's good. That's exactly what the doctor said to him. No mention of keyboards. No mention of you'll be able to drive. First thing the doc said was, you'll be able to have a bit of a wank on Thursday, Hayden. Probably in the afternoon. I know, it's fucking rubbish. Hi to Andy Dunbar. How you doing, Andy? Long time no hear, pal. Good to hear from you again. An old pal of mine from Manchester and a journalist himself. Good to hear from you, Andy. Let's very quickly move on, eh? What else have we got? It's crap really this morning. Everything is really so we've kind of, I suppose I've defended Corbyn, haven't I? Shall we have a good old rant about Jeremy now? Let's hammer Corbyn for the things that really stand out. You know, for the genuine reasons to hammer him. And here's one coming right up. Oh, lovely. If you haven't checked out Trigger Warning before, by the way, check it out. That's nice, that now. Good bit of lighting there, no? Yeah. Let's the Corbyn story, that's it. To try and find it now. Here we go. Where is it? I'm very well prepared, aren't I? Here we go. Corbyn's story. We need a bit of Corbyn bashing for a bit of balance, don't you know? Jeremy Corbyn wants children to be taught about the injustice of the British Empire as part of this new race and faith manifesto if Labour wins the general election. I know it's the Daily Mail. I know. The Mail doesn't like Corbyn, I know. But this is good, this, because we talk about this from time to time, don't we? Corbyn will confirm that his party would set up a new emancipation educational trust to ensure the effects of colonialism are taught in the national curriculum. They go on to talk about Labour being investigated for anti-Semitism. That's lovely. The Tories are saying that this is Labour attempting to rubbish Britain's past. And the Tories are saying that the schools would be better off teaching the children about communism. I don't agree with either of them, to be honest. But anyway, this race and faith manifesto includes a plan to force companies to extend pay gap reporting to ethnic minority groups in an attempt to tackle pay discrimination. A race equality unit in the Treasury would review spending announcements to look for the impact on ethnic minorities. So they'll set up a special race equality unit, and just before there's any spending announcement by the government, Corbyn's government, the race equality unit would look at the spending announcement to see what the impact would be on ethnic minorities. Oh, fuck right off, you know. Yeah. Drives me mad, this stuff. Drives me mad, you know. This is enabling people to be victims, to play the victim, to constantly look for an opportunity to identify yourself as the victim. No, it's not your fault that you failed your 11 plus, you thick fucker. It's not your fault. It's all that colonialism. That's right. It's not your fault you didn't get the job. It's not your fault that you turned up for the interview reeking of garlic from last night's pasta dish and there was a red sauce stain on your tie or that your hair wasn't combed. No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's because you're black, you see. It's because you're Asian, you see. It's because of our colonial past. Yeah, that's where we're going. That's where we're going. We are. I know that I have ethnic minority viewers and listeners, and it really pisses them off when I say this, but I don't care. I don't care. You're not a victim. You're not a victim. You've got 2 arms, 2 legs. You've got a mouth. You've got a brain. You don't need to be protected from the world. You don't need to be protected from failure by the fucking government that wants to lock down society and is using these issues as a means to do that. Right? You're not a victim. You're not special because you're black or because you're Asian or because your religion is Hindu or because your religion is Jewish. You're not special. You're not important. You don't need to be wrapped up in cotton fucking wool, do you? Morons. All of you. Take responsibility for yourself. Don't allow anybody hold domain over you, I would say. The BBC is wretched, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it fucking wretched, the BBC? Yes, we edited out audience laughing at Boris Johnson during election debate. That was a mistake, says the disgusting BBC. Corbyn was, Jesus, force of habit. Johnson was ridiculed and laughed at on Question Time, the leaders thing, during several answers. So when the BBC news teams went to get some of the clips from the Question Time show to put in the news bulletins, they edited out the laughing. Now, I'm going to tell you something. When I worked in commercial radio, if I had done anything like that, I would have been fired with extreme prejudice. There's no warning for that. You know, there's no quiet word with the head of news or the station manager to say, Richie, you can't be doing them things. Here's a warning, Richie. No, you're gone. You're fucked. Fired. Because you are attempting to influence what those who watch your news bulletins think. By removing the laughter, you're giving a pass to Boris Johnson. You're basically saying it didn't happen. They were caught with their trousers down. The BBC admits it. Yeah, we fucking did it, yeah. But again, this is the BBC that was caught helping to stage chemical attacks in Syria to vilify and demonise the Syrian government. So I suppose we shouldn't be surprised that it omits a very important part of the answer given by Boris Johnson on Question Time, that being that the audience laughed their fucking arses off at him because they knew he was lying through his teeth. Crazy. And crazy. Thanks for all the comments today. Jennifer is not triggered at all, just engaging. I think I misunderstood you, Jennifer. Because people tend to type very quickly and they don't really get to say what it is they read. I don't understand what you're saying. Whether you think that that I'm wrong to say that Jewish people as an identity group are in no danger. If you think that they are, that if you think that by people, I don't know, whether it be some Labour activists on the very far left or some far right people, whether their opinions can represent a genuine threat, physical threat to the well-being of Jewish folks. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe there's any evidence of it. Now, you obviously do, or maybe you don't. I don't know. It's difficult when you do this to understand what people are saying. That's why you should phone in the phone-in show. Because then you can properly have a go at me and I'll just sit there and listen to you. That's how it works. Yeah. Fucking tired this morning. But I'll be alright. I'm going to get up now and go for a run. Imagine the BBC, huh? Yeah, we did. We were caught. Yeah, we were caught. What do they charge? 150 quid, is it? 160 pounds a year? No fucking chance. Not in a million years. What else have we got? Nothing really. That's about it really this morning. Not a lot going on. I mean, the papers are crammed full of election stuff. The election is 3 weeks from today, isn't it? Is it 3 weeks from today? There are 4 days left in November. 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. Fucking hell. Let me have a look here. I know. Jesus wept, I know. Yeah, Thursday, December 12th. So it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from Thursday to the election. And that's all you'll have in the papers. So the paper reviews will have to be a bit creative with them, I think, between now and then. I'll be back with you at 5 o'clock today for 2 hours of news, interviews and analysis. Matt Landman is one of the guests today. Franken Skies, the movie. It's been ages since Matt was on. There's news there as well. That's why he's coming on. I will have another guest, I'm pretty sure. And we'll have a good monologue and we'll have a good show. That's 5 o'clock on the usual channels. That is today, Tuesday, November the 26th. So thanks for watching this garbage. Until today at 5, I'll love you and leave you. Do check out Graham Booth and Hayden Hewitt. They are regularly broadcasting on the YouTube Trigger Warning channel, and it's always interesting, whether you like it or whether you don't. So do check them out. I'll see you later on. Until then, it is bye from myself. Be Jesus. Bye for now.